want to do landscape architecture. I want to build a cityscape, not buildings, not houses, but I want to make flyovers.
I want to study electronic engineering and nanotechnology and hope to use this knowledge to help apply technology to help handicapped people overcome their disabilities.
I think I want to do something related to heart attack. Like, it's killing so many people nowadays. Something like this, which affecting a lot of people. Maybe some research into these fields.
I want to design planes and all, but basically my dream is to join the Air Force after doing aeronautical engineering.
Established in 1988, the Shri School is one of the pioneers in the field of child-centric education in India. TSRS, as it is popularly called, now has 2 branches spread across 3 campuses with over 2,500 students. Maintaining an extremely low student-to-teacher ratio, the schools have an excellent track record of successfully delivering the ICSE and ISE curricula for over a decade. The schools, designed by eminent architects, are equipped with state-of-the-art laboratories, computer labs, multimedia rooms, art studios, sports facilities, libraries with online access, and a 700-seater auditorium. In response to the unique needs of children with learning difficulties, TSRS has a dedicated Special Education Needs Department, which provides inclusive educational opportunities to these children. The Early Intervention Service assists the child and parent with corrective strategies and therapies that help maximize the child's potential at every stage of development. The school also offers the NIOS curriculum and pre-vocational training as an alternative to these children at the senior level. These achievements and pursuits of the school have been constantly shaped and steered by the vision of our chairperson, Mrs. Manju Bharatram.
When we started the school, we were sure that the education should be more child-centered, more nurturing, and each child's potential to be taken to the best of its capabilities.
We start at age 4+, and learning is very experiential in the early years at the Shri School. It's very hands-on, it's very thematic in approach. So there's a lot of learning by doing, and in that sense, what the children learn, it stays with them. This is not by rote, it's not forgotten. They learn how to be analytical, questioning, curious. And I think those are the things that we retain all through junior school, through the middle years, and eventually in the IB program, which is exactly based on the same principles.
The International Baccalaureate is a pre-university diploma program that is recognized worldwide as an alternative to national curricula such as ISC, CBSE and ICSE. Founded in 1968 with its head office in Geneva, the IBO is accepted in over 124 countries worldwide, including India. This 2-year diploma program is well known for its academic rigor. Students of higher secondary school who have completed Class 10 or its equivalent from any of the national or state curricula are eligible for this challenging pre-university course.
India's demographic advantage, and also because of this globalization, there are people always on the move. Because of the mobility of the parents, we felt that it was time we started the International Baccalaureate.
In fact, it couldn't be a better fit. Everything we were doing at the Shri School before IB came our way and we came IB's way matches in the sense that it's almost a blueprint. Wanting to ask questions, wanting to entertain questions, wanting to inculcate an inquiring mind, wanting to know more and yet more, and why things work, how they work, what leads to what, cause and effect. All those questions which don't necessarily have black and white answers are what we encourage in our school at the Shri School, and that's also the IB way.
every festival, every project is linked to our country India, you know, the love for India. All the Indian festivals that we celebrate, each festival is beautifully linked to the curriculum. So as a result of which, from the very beginning, the children have this exposure to the Indian ethos of bringing out the richness of our country and the diversity that exists within this country.
Shri Ram School is a pioneer and is a leader in all environmental initiatives. It has shown Delhi and in fact India the way how students can take forward the movements of environment and live it up and become the future change makers. Right from saving water to not burning leaves, not using poly bags, recycling all our waste. Junior Tiger Task Force is especially a group from the Shri Ram School who have gone around Ranthambore and stopped the poaching, worked with the tribals. People are just joining in the movement.
Well, I shouldn't be saying so myself, but we've always been very, very proud of our faculty. I don't know if any of these news magazines have done this kind of a survey, but if there were parameters by which to assess the quality of faculty in terms of expertise, creativity, drive and subject knowledge, I would find it very hard to believe if the Shri Ram School didn't come first in the country.
I think what makes learning really different is that the teachers are given a lot of freedom and space. It's true, we do work within the constraints of a curriculum, but the teacher can use any sort of methodology that she wants to, so long as the learning that happens for the child is positive.
They're also encouraged to research and understand the strategies that are effective all over the world, including various places in India. So what happens is that when a teacher believes that one of the strategies that she has been experimenting with is working very well in the classroom, then what we do is we encourage her to convert that into a training program by which she can empower others to also use that strategy.
The IB hexagon is a good representation of the subject choices available to a student and the flexibility the course offers in subject selection. The heart of the hexagon consists of 3 mandatory components that every student needs to pursue in order to complete the program.
Theory of knowledge is actually central to the entire IB curriculum, and in fact it is theory of knowledge which makes it different. Students are not only encouraged to learn about the different disciplines and whatever information they are getting, but also to integrate this whole knowledge and also to question how they interconnect, where they make sense, rather than treating them as separate entities. They are able to look at an object from different perspectives and then in the end come together and have another dimension to how they look at the same object.
The extended essay in the IB is an important part of the core of the IB. It's kind of a research which is equivalent to the research that a child or a student does at MSc or a PhD level. The only thing is that it has a slightly lesser magnitude, but it actually introduces the child to the entire process of scientific inquiry.
Extended essay, of course, builds up this research skills required at university, as well as communication and analytical skills that would be required for independent work and thinking. The IB acknowledges individual thought and opinion. It wants to know what the child thinks.
Aim of the CAS program is basically to create a lot of sensitivity amongst children who take up the IB program, to make them think beyond themselves, to think of the society, the country, the international community as a whole, and basically try and do something which could make a difference in their lives.
The subject combinations in the IB undoubtedly are the most flexible. You can do a science, a humanities subject, a math, with an art and maybe something as rare as theatre. Now, this gives you the possibility of doing theoretical, quantitative and creative subjects.
It's definitely more international, and you study about a lot of other countries. You study about the policies they're using, the problems they're facing, and it's a learning lesson like for the kids also. They can apply it to their own economy, they apply it to whatever scenario they're studying.
The IB English student, when he studies the text, is never going to be asked what happens next. We're not interested in the what happens next. It's the craft of it. How does it happen? How does the author make it happen? So it's all about appreciating the effort and the craft that goes into creating a story rather than merely telling the story. Telling a story is an easy enough thing, but the scenes behind it, what is it, the thought process that goes behind it? That is what makes you a sensitive student of literature, and that is what IB English is training you to do.
The IB psychology curriculum has two aspects to it, okay? Basically, there is concepts and there's theory, which is taught to the child from the teacher to the student. That's the transaction we usually have. But after that, it's actually empirical evidence that sustains the program. We experiment on the child's moods, the child's auditory stimulus, or any aspect of it. Different aspects of psychology is taken in an application form, and we use it in an experiment.
Now, IB history is different because you're looking at primary sources, secondary sources, and then reaching a viewpoint about any event in history. That's how the methods of learning history is different, which is normally not done in other curriculums.
The art has come of age now. They're beginning to see a future for themselves. It's leading to pretty lucrative careers. And essentially what we teach here are the fundamental and organizational principles of art, which are, let's say, ratio, proportion, texture, spaces, how to harness space, light, tone, etc. And these are sort of universal principles. So they can be applied to any field really, whether it's architecture or advertising or graphic art or fine art or art for art's sake.
Theatre is about understanding the world through yourself. And so when you get to know yourself that intimately and that clearly and that fundamentally, it just makes you that much more observant and sensitive a human being. So you are able to do anything differently because you have empathized with so many different situations. We study 3 different traditions of world theatre. Basically look at what an actor does in performance. We look at all the various aspects of production. And then we look at the director's vision and we look at a dramaturgical perspective.
One of the things we have continuously strived for is to make our students sensitive not only to the environment but also sensitive to the social needs in terms of doing social work, social development, and also to our own heritage and contribute to society in a wholesome manner.
This ethos of ours very easily fitted in with the IB curriculum, wherein creativity action service is a component which every student has to complete in order to get the diploma.
These children are the underprivileged students that stay around the school, and Shri Ram takes them and teaches them.
I've grown as a person because I've become more aware of the society, of how we live, and I've actually started thinking about how these children can be helped, and even the smallest thing can actually help them.
The IB program is further enhanced by some special initiatives aimed at enriching the learning experience. The International Film Week and the International Cuisine Week expose the students to various cultures, perspectives, philosophies, and facilitates their becoming truly global citizens of the future.
We certainly find that the mind of the child is growing and growing rapidly. We find that he's gaining in confidence, his curiosity levels have gone up, he's doing things that he hasn't done before. I do think that the IB syllabus for children of this generation is possibly more with it.
I think that we are very, very fortunate that as a first batch, we have offers ranging from California colleges. We have a student who's presently in England taking the Cambridge interview. We have offers from the University of Manchester in England, from Purdue, from Michigan, and so on and so forth. And we hope to see these students placed not only in the best places, but places which will realize their potential. I think what is important is all of us to realize that the student, if they match the university where they can perform the best, is the way to go. Just getting them into the best place is not going to help them. The way forward is they get into the place where they can perform.
Let